Delegates from 200 countries have been meeting in Bonn for 2 weeks now to work on a detailed rule book for the Paris Pact, such as how to report and check each nation's greenhouse gas emissions. The Paris Agreement sets a goal of ending the fossil fuel era this century and limiting warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial times. The talks are set to end later on today. Well, DW correspondent Nicole Frolich joins us now from Bonn. Thank you for joining us on Network Africa.
My pleasure.
What are the likely outcomes of this year's climate conference?
Well, there have already been plenty of significant outcomes to this summit, starting with the Syrian announcement in the first week that they were aiming at joining the Paris Agreement, leaving the U.S. government in an unprecedented situation of isolation within the international community. Then, of course, there have been several multilateral initiatives, like the one pushed by Canada and the UK to phase out of coal in the upcoming years, or the intensified action on climate insurance for vulnerable countries backed by the German government. But of course, the basic aim of this summit, as you already said, was to set a roadmap for the achievement and the successful implementation of the Paris goals, and the countries were able to draft a roadmap towards this goal. But this was more than a diplomatic achievement, a bureaucratic one for now, because right now this so-called Paris rulebook is little more than a compilation of the positions of the different negotiating parties and delegations. It's more than 100 pages long, or more than 200 pages long, actually. So now the task is to narrow this down and then take a more concise version of this roadmap to the next COP that is due to take place next year in Poland.
Right, it's been, a long journey to, getting out this rule book. I'm sure it was hard fought. Were there any areas of disagreement at this conference?
Well, as always, it's all about the money. Those who don't have it desperately need it, and those who have it don't really want to share it. The financing of the so-called adaptation funds was a topic that was particularly difficult in the discussions, because the more developed nations, who with these adaptation funds are set to support the developing nations in facing the consequences of climate change, didn't really want to commit to making automatic payments and to informing the international community about their commitment with climate initiatives in developing countries. This comes to show once again that everything said here at these summits is to be taken with a grain of salt, because it's very easy to use the limelight and that privileged position in front of the international community to pledge for international cooperation, for empathy, and for unity. But then actually taking these promises back home and implementing them as policies is a whole different story.
What was the mood like, for delegates coming into this conference, and now that it's closing, what's the mood like now?
Right now, there's a bit of a countdown mood, but already the stage is being set for the next summit that is to take place in Paris, actually not long from now, on December 12th. The delegates who are here will meet again following an invitation by Emmanuel Macron. They will meet on a summit for climate mobilization, where the aim is to push forward on more innovative green initiatives, and also to mobilize more funds. This initiative will receive the name of the One Planet Summit, and this is a planet that, according to Emmanuel Macron, doesn't need the support of Donald Trump because he's not invited.
Right, thank you. DW's Nicole Frolich talking to us there from Bonn.